You're tuned in now, so let's begin. A show where stories always win. Grab your seat and lend your ear. The moment's bright, the vibe is clear. It's Tell Me Everything. Stars inside, gonna sing and swing. With Rosalind Duke, there's joy in the air. Life's a show and we're all there. In the spotlight, tales unfold. New adventures started bold. With Rosalind Duke, here's joy in the air. Life's a show and we're all there. Get ready for the fun to rise. Every story a surprise. Rosalind's here to guide the way. So much to hear, so much to say. It's Tell Me Everything. Stars inside, gonna sing and swing. With Rosalind Duke, there's joy in the air. Life's a show and we're all there.
Hey there, folks. How's it going today?
Like, who is that sexy
Who
voice?
is that? I thought about stealing your line, but then I was like, why not let him say it for himself?
Indeed.
That was an old one. That was an old one. That was so much fun. So much fun. Well, finally and at last.
I know it is taking me forever to to be like, oh yeah, you did mention that multiple times. My bad.
It's okay. Well, I think everyone here knows exactly who you are, but for those who don't, and for those who in 100 years from now find this video, who is that umbrella guy?
Well, that umbrella guy is, I'm not really sure, a YouTuber, a connoisseur of stupid and weird, and a mocker of monetizable stupid.
That's fair. What's funny is in doing just a teensy bit of research, I found the following information. That umbrella guy, commonly known as Tug, is a British YouTuber whose channel launched around 2015. Would you care to explain this to the class, Tug?
Yeah, I don't really know how though. Yes, you caught me. If I pip cheerio.
This whole time,
Yeah.
you've been.
You're
British.
wrong. That's the worst part of it. I mean, the channel started in, I used to do Amazon reviews. I
Right.
got into their Vine program. That was back. Nowadays, they still have it, but in the past, there was no tax hit for it. Nowadays, if you get something over $600, you have to report it. You get hit for the monetary value. It sucks. Back when it was open season, they
Yeah.
sent you a $3,000 computer, all yours, no reporting, good times.
Nice.
But what I found with that is, like, if you put up a video, some people on YouTube, you would have scammers that would take that video, link it to something, and do what scammers do. So around 2012, I started the YouTube channel not to really do anything, just to kind of put those back out there. And and it went 2015.
Yeah, no, I too found it was May 8th, 2012, apparently.
Mhm.
So you didn't start your channel right away though, right?
No. My the actual channel and function, I guess, is around. It's somewhere, I can't remember exactly. It's somewhere 2017, 2018, right in there. It's when the 1,000 subscriber threshold, when that starts to come in. I just can't. It's been so long, I can't remember anymore.
Right.
But Yeah. I had, just putting up reviews, I'd picked up a few hundred subscribers, just throwing up items. In fact, one of my biggest videos for the longest time was a sprinkler video and got over 100,000 views. I'm like, holy crap, that's crazy, just porting it over. Yeah, and people will make it every now and then. They're like, oh, it's that sprinkler guy,
That's the sprinkler guy.
Yeah. So, but I started talking about like comic books and nerd stuff. Apparently, that's terrible, according to some of these anti-Helsers. But yes, I've really camouflaged that well. I am a geek. Oh no!
Right.
But
So, where did you come up with the name That Umbrella Guy?
so I used to review products, and you would see my hands in it. And I have a tattoo on my hand. It's a little umbrella symbol, and there was a guy who always complained in every one of my videos. And, I'm an asshole. I like to be. So he would complain. And one day he was like, oh, my God, it's That Umbrella Guy. And I was like, that's funny. So I changed it to that. That's the big thought process there.
Yeah. So what's up with the umbrella tattoo?
I'm a fan of the RE stuff. So I just have a Resident Evil logo on my hand.
Okay. Okay. Gotcha. So it's it's from that, but it's also, isn't it like it's like a warning label?
Yeah. It's part of the whole, the Resident Evil logo for the Umbrella Corporation. It's a play off of the biohazard.
Right. So I'm gonna skip around here for a second.
Huh?
How would you describe your childhood?
Good enough, I guess. It was a pre-cell phone. It was pretty well. I had a very good mother. Father, not so much, but very good mother. I've had what is it, 4 stepfathers, I think. So I had one really good parent, but I think I consider myself blessed in that. Many people don't have that, but yeah, my father was kind of crazy, but it was.
Yeah. At the time, did you think of it as bad or
No,
so?
Not really. I mean, it's just it's your environment. I mean, whatever it is. I mean, it was definitely interesting, but
Yeah.
looking back, it is definitely molded. I had some pretty volatile people in my life. That's why, like with my girls now, I this isn't a statement on corporal punishment or anything, but for myself, I don't like spanking it. I just doesn't. I dealt with some craziness back when, and no, not really.
What was the worst job you ever had?
Worst job. I mean, I worked around, with farms. So, yeah, I think cutting and spearing tobacco was probably one of the worst jobs. Throwing hay, that kind of stuff. It just it was rough work.
Yeah, yeah. Although the physical jobs I think also seem to make the time pass faster.
Yeah, it's just I mean, that was hard work. Cut your hands up,
Oh, I can imagine.
wear
I
you
can
down.
imagine. Oh
I
yeah.
did. I worked in a plastics factory at one time,
Oh
and
yeah.
they hired a lot of convicts, and
Oh
that
my.
was a fun job. You'd work with all kinds of interesting and not very smart people. You'd find a lot of really dumb people, and I got to see some crazy accidents. I saw a guy. Pallets, like a big box, that comes in. You can pick it up with a forklift.
Yeah.
When you assemble them, you take like a nail gun and push it into the 2 pieces of wood. It's like ta-ta, like an easy process. Well, I saw one of these guys they hired set up against a wall, and he took that air gun and he leaned it on his foot. And when you lean it, when it depresses, it fires.
Oh no.
Yeah, I watched him nail his foot to the floor. I mean, just dumb stuff like that. And I kept thinking, my God, this, I don't know if I'm, I don't know if I feel good about being around here. You know, I feel okay with what I do, but I'm like, one of these people is going to get me killed one day.
Yeah, somebody's going to end my life on
Yeah.
accident. Well, and that's when you get with the convicted part of criminal, right? I mean,
Yes.
like, doesn't mean that you're the smartest one out of the
Yeah,
bunch.
yeah. I started out as just a floor operator, and very quickly became like one of the heads of our quality, you know, measurement. So I ended up, because again, you know, the lack of you didn't have to be very smart to do it. So if you had any common sense whatsoever, they were like, well, you know, yeah, let's have you look at these other people's work. But
Yeah, straight to management. Straight to management.
Yeah.
What was the best job you've ever had?
oh, I say this stuff. This is the greatest. I mean, I get
Yeah.
to sit around, make fun of stupid people. I get paid for it. I love it.
Yeah, I think it's probably some of the most rewarding work.
Yep.
For me personally, because it's,
Yeah.
you know, I think it's also, you know, you get to kind of flex your creative juices. You can be goofy as you want. You don't have to worry about, well, you have to worry about YouTube rules, but you don't have to like adhere to anybody else's corporate guidelines
Yeah.
or anything like that. So
It-
it's fun. I like it.
It's interesting. It you know, it's weird when success rolls around with it. You know, I started covering comic books. I got a little over 10,000 subscribers, you know, through that. I was rolling around. It started doing pretty well. Then I have the Big Manana stuff, you know, cover. He's my first false allegation stuff. And it rolls up to about 40,000 subscribers. Then Depp, you know, there was other stuff in there. I'm just taking major highlights.
Right.
Depp hits, you know, that consumes years of my life, but
Absolutely.
that was very rewarding, you know, and you know, that's when the channel really grew. And then there's this case.
Now, at some point, you decided to get into counseling, mental health. What launched that idea?
I worked, so I always liked observing people anyway. I think people that are more introverted, first of all, you know, if you have the people that are in the middle of the crowd at a party, and then the people who observe the crowd at the party, you know,
Right.
and there are a lot of people that do that. And I think when you do that, you know, and as an observer of humans, it's kind of a fascinating thing to do. And I worked as I don't know what they call it now. I just call it a floor tech. That would be the entry level with clients that were at the time, I'm just going to use initials, MR and MI, which would mental illness, and everybody knows what MR is.
Right.
So now they change up the titles. But I worked with a person that was one of the Clover Bottom. I can't remember if there are 5 or 6 of them. And I saw, you know, I mean, they were broken people. That was from the when they deinstitutionalized. All these people came out of institutions. They were broken human beings. And in the state of Tennessee, we had 5 or 6. Like I said, I can't remember. I have to look it up. That sued. They came from our institution here, Clover Bottom, terrible place. I toured it while it was still open, and it was crazy. It was wild. And this was after they deinstitutionalized. Anybody that was there and had no place to go, they still lived there. They were going to close down after all the people
I've
died.
heard this story. Yeah. That's wild.
Yeah. So the guy that after working with that guy, you know, it was from there. I mean, he was broken, almost an animal through it. I mean, it was just sad stuff. But it intrigued me. Mental health did. Through that. So I decided, you know, I thought, hey, go to college. Let's see what's there. And it was pretty interesting to do for a while.
Right. No, I can imagine it. You know, I guess everybody takes like the standard psych class. Like you kind of have to take it, right? And I did find it fascinating, but you know, I also hate school.
Right.
So I wasn't gonna. I was like,
oh,
no,
I get that.
no.
You know, I very well
not
get
doing
that. Well, I didn't want to go. You know, I so went through. I enjoyed teaching. I thought it was fun, and I probably would have stayed there longer. But you had this wave of entitlement. You know, you see it now, and it's not a you know, people pretend it's a generational thing. Oh no, a lot of it's a wealth thing. You know, I'd run into people that they give a lot of money for the schools, and it's just awful to have to kowtow to those people. So like,
Right.
no, I'm not going to do that. But yeah, I stayed in for a while with that, just teaching. Like I said, I liked it. It was fun.
Yeah, I liked teaching. I taught don't laugh at me, but I taught etiquette classes for preteen girls, and I guess they would call it like finishing school.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed it because you could see these girls that came in with, very low self-esteem, and then just teaching them how to walk and how to dress and how to fix their hair and do their makeup. And by the time they're done with the class, they're like standing up straight and they're laughing and smiling and engaging with people. And it was just like, it was probably my favorite job
Well,
ever.
that's kind of, when you talk about mental health, that's the same thing. Having people
Right.
come in, you're talking about people that, they have these issues, and, it's the issue underlying everything. It's rewarding to see. You don't get to see a lot of that, though.
Yeah.
I got into working with extreme mental health cases. The place I worked for a lot of my time was a private company. They would pick up, they would have housing, and housing and mental health breaks down to they're different houses basically, but they're levels. You have the intensive ones, middle level, and then the ones that are closest to acclimating to the outside. And you get some extreme cases with that. But we would also get outpatient. And in outpatient, nobody wants to work with kids, because the kids, if you work with them long enough, it will mess you up inside. It does. I
Yeah.
was told that would happen. I did not believe it. And then I experienced it. I was like, yep. So it's rewarding when it happens, but man, there's so many cases where the damage is so severe, and the kids moved along. Like when you see positive movement, God, you take on a lot of baggage anyway. The horror these people have been through. You can't believe a human being could go through some of this, let alone a child.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I get that. I think that a lot of, especially like we hear that with first responders struggle with that aspect of their job, I think too,
Oh yeah.
when they have to interact with situations that involve children. Is there anything from your previous careers or jobs that you think prepared you the most for YouTube?
I think dealing with severely mentally ill people.
I knew that was coming, but I had to ask.
I mean, seriously, it's amazing. As an observer of human nature too,
Mhm.
you can predict a lot of what these people do. And then with severely mentally ill people, when you combine that together, you can predict about 85% of what these folks are going to do. And that's, we do pretty well. It's the 15%. It sometimes surprises you. But yeah, in fact, I would say working with the severely, in that job, I had a rib cracked. I had all kinds of fun stuff happen, and I would still say that those folks that I worked with were much better condition than many of the people you see out here.
Right. Right. Yeah, I can see where you're coming from sometimes. I'm not going to mention any names.
Exactly. I mean, the one thing with meeting a person in a clinical setting, unless they've been forced to be there, like that happens, or they get arrested, whatever, unless they've been forced to be there, though, they want change. And that's the biggest key. You see these people out here, there's certain ones. I'm sure everybody can think of a really good example. I won't say who again. I wouldn't try to diagnose them either. They're not a client or anything, but they've talked about their own problems. And yeah, you can tell they are severely mentally ill, but they don't want change. They don't even want to acknowledge that they're sick.
Right. Right. Well, and that comes with the territory too, I think. Was there a specific event that made you want to start streaming as opposed to, sharing videos?
Well, I mean, I always liked stream. The thing I'm doing now was just health. I mean, honestly, for the last year, it's streaming is more, it's easier. But also, I think when you're streaming, I think the interaction portion is a lot more rewarding. You get to you get challenged in it, first of all. If you say something, so many people make videos and you see the ego in them. You see people that are unwilling to admit when they're wrong. We're all wrong sometimes. So I like that. I love the camaraderie to it, the community to it. You get to know people like firsthand,
Sure.
but also you can be challenged. If you're wrong, hey, you can be wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I don't mind being wrong. I learned a long time ago, when you're doing research, especially, you have to try to not get too ingrained in where you're headed, because, you can get into a confirmation bias situation. And I think that if you start to get down that road and then you see something that counters that, it's okay to say, hey, this makes me rethink it.
Yeah. That's why with like what we're covering now, Shara. That's why I like what Shara did, because Shara could have easily dismissed what she was saying and said, no, I'm already down in this. Because you take your lumps. Like, if you're wrong, you do. People, they come after you. They talk a lot of shit about you. But, hey, it's an integrity thing. It's ego versus integrity. And I have to give her that.
Oh,
sure.
Absolutely. But there is something, to me, I find it more confidence boosting when somebody does say, like, hey, I got this part wrong and I'm rethinking things, and then, come back and put the pieces back together. I kind of forced that puzzle piece in a little bit. I bit a piece of it off and I made it fit, I would rather somebody say they screwed up than, just you dug their heels in, so to speak. So was there someone specifically that you followed, or was there somebody that helped to inspire you to start YouTube?
Yeah, well, I started in the so nowadays they call the thing back when Comicsgate. Now that was not a self-applied. Yeah, it wasn't a self-applied label though. It was just, we're all a bunch of geeks or nerds, whatever you want to call us. We love our comic books, and what we were seeing is this decline in quality and this rise in unprofessionalism. You have people that sit around. It comes with I always used to say back then that social media was the meteorite that killed the dinosaur. Professionalism. We all imagined it roaming free and all these people are professionals. No, social media crashed in and it showed us exactly what these things were. But I can't remember who exactly inspired the creation of it. I with that, there was like there were a couple of waves of creators. Their very first people in there, and then there was like the second wave of folks. It was like myself, Yellow Flash, for example. He's a big one now, and so on. And we were talking about all this insanity with it. You were seeing a lot of creators fired over social or political views, and you shouldn't be. I don't care what political views you have, I think they're all crazy. So, you should be fired. If I fire, if people got fired over what it disagree, everybody probably get fired. So, that shouldn't happen. If you're good at your job, you're good at your job. But this pops off, and then the Me Too movement explodes through that. So that really, I can't remember, like I said, the first channels that inspired that, but there were several good ones. I remember the biggest ones during that time, though, had about 10 to 20,000 subscribers. And I used to think, oh my God, 10,000 subscribers. That's insane,
Yeah.
And now it's like, wow, I've gotten there, so it's interesting thinking back to that. But I do, one of the people at that time that kept me going was Yellow Flash. We were good friends. We still are good friends, but we were good. We would stream together. We would go on Twitter. And we were small channels, and so we'd get away with a lot of shit. Not enough eyes on us, right? We'd go and we'd live troll people, Can you imagine like at the ecosystem right now? And, all those people were on, because they would be on old Twitter. They would all be there,
Right.
And you could go in and fuck with them live and get reactions. Oh God, it was so much fun. So,
I would never troll people on social media.
Nor I. I've learned the error of
do
my
that.
way. Yeah.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Oh, was there like a specific catalyst, or was there? I mean, like the one thing that was like now's the time. Now I can do it. I mean, I know you're talking about you're looking at like these 10,000 subscribers and things like that. What's funny is I never noticed the subscriber count until I started a channel on anybody else's channel. Like I
Well,
didn't even think that way.
when I started, one of the things I noticed, like we were all, here's the thing, like I said, I can't remember. I think it's around 2018. YouTube in changes its monetization policy.
Okay.
Suddenly you have 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours. Before that, you were just monetized.
Oh,
You made a channel, you were monetized. That's it. Welcome to the subscriber.
I'm always late to the cool stuff. Darn it.
Yeah. Well, I remember sitting around, we were talking about all this stuff, but I remember sitting around with you, like Yellow Flash, being like, how the hell did we get 400 more subscribers? Where did they come from? How are we going to do this? And, we did. That was a catalyst to grow. Now, one of the biggest, the thing I remember making me make real videos, though, there was a comic creator named Gail Simone. And Gail Simone, she was an asshole online. She was the epitome of unprofessional. And she said some crazy stuff one time. She pretends none of this happened anymore. These people are locked in a diminishing comic industry that they've helped kill. But she said something, and I can't remember what it is. I brought it up on Twitter, and she was like, I bet you can't say that. Like, I can't remember, like lucidly or something. I bet you $1. And you know what? I bet you I keep that $1. I was like, all right, B, we're on. So I made a video on it, making fun of that. Here's my $1. And that really, I got a taste of it because it was so funny.
Yeah.
She hated it and responded to it. I was like, it's mine. So.
I first found you through the Johnny Depp case.
Right.
Some of the research you did on that, or that you helped share, was just incredibly amazing, and the coverage was good. And I mean, I was just so compelled by it. The whole Me Too thing really was a disturbing period for me, because there's that conflict. I should support this, believe all women, but I'm like, guys, have y'all met women?
Yeah.
I mean, there's some awful women out there. So I was very conflicted. And then the whole Johnny Depp case, I mean, I hate to say it, but I kind of was like, well, another one bites the dust.
Yeah.
But some of your coverage, and that Brian fella.
Yeah. Brian did some, he was one of the first people to really put out something that, I mean, it was, I could look at testimony items like that and really question it. But when you listened to what was there, and I liked that case. That case I went full bore into, I just didn't give a shit. I also, now I'm bothered by a trend now, with that. People figured out at the end of it, when it went live, that you can make money off of this. And now I look at, I'm not going to say anything about anyone, they cover whatever they want, and love to them, right? But there are people out there that have no reason for doing this other than they want to get paid. And that's okay, but they don't give a shit about what they set on fire. And I think there was a movement to break false allegations. And there were a lot of people involved. They did good work. It wasn't just Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp, that mattered. And it was definitely about him, but it wasn't just him. There were so many other people. And now, it's one of the reasons I haven't been able to get into, there's a few high profile cases that are going on right now. I cannot make myself cover them, because the other, again, I can tell, some people are in there, right reason, great. And again, I'm not trying to call anybody out. They do their own thing, but it doesn't set with me anymore. Maybe it will later. Maybe something will click there.
Right.
But there was some money, when people talk about, the money, there were articles written about, look at these people make money. Yeah, there was money when there was a trial. that one public trial. But all that time there, we were being demonetized. I couldn't even say fucking Amber Heard's name because the algorithm was rigged against us.
Right.
It buried us. I spent 4 years fighting that. But when that trial exploded, they couldn't keep you from doing that. So that was interesting. It was good. But I also think I think the rise of short form video is it harms things as well. The short form video, it hurts the investigative journalism to it. It's hard to cram in. It's hard sometimes to cram in what you want to say in 12 minutes. You want to make a point about something new, but you want to link it to something old and make it relevant. And live streams are great for that. We can goof off. We can talk about stuff. We can take this new statement, but we can rehash in a way that we put it all together, and we don't have to exclude anyone. We can spend hours doing that. But
yeah, well, the conversation format, the long form, which, I was following Joe Rogan and maybe some Jordan Peterson, and I was just mesmerized by this long content. And I was like, wow, these people are actually having a conversation and it's making me think.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is great. I love it. I mean, I was really, really blown away when that really started to shift. It was no longer just about, pushing an idea in and out in as fast as you can get it into the, the whatever, and then move on. It was really, let's break it down and talk about it, and talk about not just the information, but how it makes the effects that it has on people.
Yeah.
And I think that's really fascinating. That's one thing that I really enjoyed about that. You found yourself in the crosshairs in a big way due to the Depp case, even being mentioned in court. What did that feel like?
It was very odd. You would have media and everything else hit up. And there's always been this false perception of, I don't care about my face being online. See, people who think with doxing and stuff, they think, I got you. Fuck you, But one of the things I thought was funny is I managed to do it in one of the most absurdist ways possible. You see all these people that they cashed in on it, and bravo to them, for doing that. But for me, I hate the media. I fucking hate the mainstream media. I hate them so much. I wouldn't do interviews with them, and I'd set ridiculous parameters like, yeah, I'll come on your show, but I have to be faceless, of course, and I need to use a giant pickle avatar. Yeah, you can't do that. Okay. I just
My way or the highway.
Yeah. But I mean, it was surreal because people were tuning in, and it validated. I spent years doing that. You know how many it's just like with Hales. Why don't you do something else? Why don't you do, because it matters, and it blowing up. It was so weird to me that validation comes because we had a public trial. Finally, people got it.
Right.
It was like, some of it was because it's right in for your face. But I mean, we'd spent years digging up stuff, and we all played a role. For myself, I hunted for any sources out there. Some of the sources, again, I've never spoken about the sources that I talked to on that. To be honest, and as long as somebody is good faith, they can be combative or whatever, but as long as they're good faith, I will protect that. Now, if they start threatening me and shit, no way, but with a Depp, you had Waldman bring that up in the trial,
Right.
But outside of that, people would be shocked by some of the folks that taught, some of the people in Heard's camp that actually opened up and had some heart to hearts.
Right.
It was amazing. But to see it all come to fruition, to be honest, I thought I was going to lose my channel over it. I was told by somebody I'm going to say in the know that very well connected with YouTube, that if Depp lost, they were going to gun for 3 or 4 of us for sure. And my channel was gone. I was gone if he lost. So it was a high stakes bet, but it was worth it.
No, I agree. I think there's a common thread in some of the cases you've covered. But But what made you get interested in covering court cases in general?
Well, I saw the stuff with Big Manana. If people don't know, Big Manana, he's a dub actor for
Yeah.
anime Japanese cartoons. If people don't know for some reason, when you get somebody talking, it's in Japanese. Well, you notice you have dubs. You have an English version. He is
Hmm.
the well-known English dub actor that was out there. Well, in 2019, he got Me Too'd, and in a terrible way. Now that guy, he definitely he was a prolific procurer of sexual favors. Let's just say he had a lot of sex, but there's nothing illegal about that.
Right.
Nothing at all. But these people, what they did is they came in, they made these horrible allegations. If you look at the environment there anyway, these people do all kinds of crazy stuff. You could watch them for 10 minutes and be like, this is a highly unorthodox, highly sexualized
Right.
business
Right.
anyway. But they went in and they accused him of 10 to 15-year-old
Oh
weird
my God.
yeah, like, oh, well, one time I was walking down the hall, he grabbed my hair and hissed like a snake in my ear, saying something sexual. It was really one of them, but it was like 12 to 13-year-old allegation. And, it's like you can't, the problem with that stuff is you can't prove it, but you can't disprove it. It's too old. There's no way to disprove it. And in the Me Too era, it would destroy people. It absolutely.
Sure.
So,
Oh yeah, it was the crowd mentality though, right? I mean, it was a mob searching out all the people.
well, they had mainstream and everything else. So he
Yeah.
was the perfect freaking he was the perfect storm for it. And they did take him out. They took everything from him. They destroyed his life, and they were pretty proud of it. And there was, there were a lot of people that stood up to that flood, and I'm proud of them all, but the major ones during that time that got a lot of notoriety was Yellow Flash, myself, the YouTuber Hero Hey. I like Hero Hey quite a bit, and Nick Rekieta. So
Yeah.
they became well known. We went to Anime Matsuri, the convention. I mean, it was a crazy time. It was crazy that it was so big that this kind of opened my eyes to how real this stuff is too. When we went to the convention, they have all these stars, and they would do they do panels. People would tune in. We did our panel, and there were more people watching our panel than anything that they put on an Anime Matsuri at all. We outdid it. We just 4 random fucking people off YouTube talking about the state of the allegations and how they destroy people.
Right.
It was something.
That's wild. I did a little bit more research.
Mhm.
Did you know that Grok thinks you have since shifted toward true crime commentary, covering cases like Karen Reed murder trial, where you discussed trial prep, witness, and attorneys in live streams and on podcasts, and refers to your style, and God refers to your style as polarizing. It's like, he did what now?
Yeah. Well, I am polarizing,
Well, no, but the Karen Reed murder, I didn't know you covered the Karen Reed murder
No,
trial.
I talked a little bit with Karen. The reason I did not cover that, honestly, I thought Turtle Boy had it in his hand. He had it all in hand. And, I
But you did
they
like
didn't
2
need me.
streams, 2, right?
Yeah, I need to see it play out.
Yeah.
Not always. Sometimes, like
Yeah.
the Blake Lively stuff I've been watching from Go. So if there is a trial that comes up with it, then hey, can you give me 1 second? I have a
Absolutely.
Regions Bank calling me. I want to. Oh wait, never mind. I know what this is. Never mind. Never mind.
Okay.
Okay, never mind. I was like, is that a security thing? No, it's them. It's them trying to get me to invest money. I'm like, no,
Yeah,
thank you.
I just thought it was funny. I was like, I think he did 2 shows maybe that
Yeah.
talked about it, and but then I was like, what is happening? Like, that's all you've done for the past 2 years.
Yeah.
Karen Reed. I'm like, no, that's
Well,
just wrong.
I find true crime interesting, but I don't I don't like shifting from thing to thing to thing to thing. Like my mind
Right.
doesn't work like that. My mind works when I can get down in it, connect stuff, and just be as as just obsessive about the minutia as possible. You know, putting it all together, and you know, it doesn't work on your own either. It works with many people that have that mindset. You know, you put them all together. Wow. So that's
Right.
why the hell stuff has been interesting, because the hell stuff, it's a never ending web of what, you know, and it
Yeah.
just it keeps going, and you know it satisfies everything that I need in there. But
Oh, for
true
sure.
crime, I couldn't switch from day to day covering things other. I see people who do that, and you know, my problem is that I don't like getting it wrong, because it's a high consequence. You see the impact that we have if we're right. You know, look at the Depp
Mhm.
trial. Look, you know, mainstream media moved against him. Hollywood, look at him now. He's going back to Hollywood and everything else. Part of that was in the court, but part of that is trial by social media, and you can actually get that right and help stop that if there are enough people. I mean, he's still on trial, but enough people mobilized and said, you know, fuck the mainstream. We're going to put this out there. They blocked out the other side of the story. I got to see the inner workings of how, like, actual media, how they get their scoop. I mean, it's just crazy to see. It was crazy to see PR teams. I got to see how PR teams really work.
Right.
Got to see how they link into the media, like all that
Mhm.
stuff. Like if it were me, like if a PR team came to me and they were like, put this out here, you know, and you need to say this or that, my first inclination would be to fuck you, and I would dump it all online and, you know, say,
Yeah.
look what these people are trying to do. But I got to see what the herd side was doing with all of that. And it was fascinating, but it was also eye-opening, you know, how
Sure.
this game they play works.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. The worst thing that I ever did was get into marketing. It's like, oh no, it just ruins everything. The illusion is gone. The magic is gone.
Well,
It's really crazy. And when you jump into a case, you really jump into a case. But I've noticed you never really share your analysis about personality profiles given your history in mental health work. Why is that?
oh, well, part of that is remote diagnosing. And one of the
Hmm.
things I find, I guess, a tad hypocritical about mental health professionals online is they're diagnosing people they've never met.
Right.
And that is against anything they've ever pledged to do. You know,
Right.
it is unethical to remote diagnose people. And these people, when they do that, they're being unethical, you know. And
So you mean using AI to diagnose people isn't
no,
cool either?
just yeah, that's definitely that's so wrong. Now, some of the, you know, when people talk about their own diagnosis, you can look at it and be like, that's wrong, or that's flawed. And you can
Right.
see a lot of people use mental health anyway as a crutch. You know, we no longer think of people as a bad person. They're not a bad person. No, they're probably mentally ill. No, maybe they're just a bad person, you know?
Right.
So
Right. Yeah, that's one thing, like with Laura Owens, there's been a lot of, speculation on that. And, maybe she's just a bad person, who happens to also have X, Y, and Z going on. But, I see a lot of things, and it's very interesting to me because I would love to hear just an idea on what someone might consider someone to be suffering from. Not
yeah.
necessarily a
Well,
diagnosis, but I think it's interesting, and I do think people often wonder why you don't go down that road.
yeah.
So I thought it would, I understand the professionalism is of it too, but it's just an interesting take. I mean, you see like the behavior panel, people do the behavior stuff, which,
Yeah.
like it or hate it, whatever. But
I,
I do find it fascinating.
I find it, I do. I find it fascinating as well. But at the same time, like I said, I find a lot of it unethical too. I mean, you can look at somebody and they could be wrong. They could be very wrong in their diagnosis. A lot of people, a lot of the behavior that you see boils down to personality, or maybe personality disorder. You can understand most of human nature if you understand personality disorders, because you're not talking about the level that we treat, when we're really talking about treating, normally you're talking about like depression, anxiety, et cetera, et
Sure.
cetera. You're seeing that, but who we are, how we've been made, people, if you've been through an environment that's terrible, or you've had certain things that have made you feel like people don't want you, or whatever, you see this ingrained in a person. That's how they deal with the world. Now, most people, when they're doing it, they can still function healthy. And when if you're functional and you're healthy in that, we just call those quirks. But the people that are really bad, we see a couple of them in this stuff we're covering now. Yeah, their personality dynamics, I bet you could look through their whole life and you could see exactly how they became that thing. Now, I'm not saying that they don't have other issues, but a lot of human behavior just boils down to personality type.
Right. Well, and I think that's another interesting topic, and I'd love to discuss it further at some point. But I know everybody's not going to want to go down my rabbit hole with me, because I do think that there is something to the personality disorder, and then how you're raised. And if you're raised by somebody with a personality disorder, do you then project that and you don't know it? So you may not actually have that issue, but you behave that way.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's learned behavior. I think the environment, it's kind of like when you look at specific personality disorders, not getting too defined in there, but look at it like, again, people with relationships, needy people in relationships, how they deal with that. They feel like they're going to be abandoned all the time, and it's overwhelming. Well, when you look at that, a lot of that, you either experience that firsthand or you experience that from somebody that you were around. You take that on. So yeah, I think that that environmental cue, I mean, obviously there are genetics and other things that that are in the mix, but as far as personality, yeah, you start walking down somebody's childhood, you learn a lot about them sometimes.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. Now, your channel has over 371,000 subs.
Uh-huh.
How long were you actively working YouTube before you managed to see a significant growth? Not to this point, but like, a significant growth. Like how long was it? Did it take you to be like, oh wow, now I've got some followers?
Well, let's see. I mean, 10,000, like I said, was a big number. It took me a year and a half, maybe, maybe longer, because I was covering niche topics. If you want to grow, you can't just cover a small topic. You have to, burst out into a larger field. It'll grow you in the major. Now, that's got its problems too, because if you want to return to a niche topic, people will be like, I want more. I want more of this.
Sure.
But yeah, comic books, about 10. Then again, about 40,000 out of the anime, the whole Big Manana issue. And that took, another year plus. Then Depp took many years. And, I think a lot of them came from that time period, from the Depp period. And I covering this topic, for example, now, if I wanted to keep growing, I would jump into big cases. But actually, I have, it's like I stepped on the brakes because, I covered this, but I find it rewarding. I think we're talking about something that it's Hales, but it's not just Hales. This could happen to any creator out there. They could have some crazy stalker, and it happens, man. It happens all the time.
For me, court is very much to me. It is the Constitution in action, right?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people get really confused. And I'm sorry, all of you out of U.S. listeners, because I know you guys are like, ugh, your Constitution. Here we go again. But yeah, our Constitution is important, but it's a framework,
Right.
and the Bill of Rights is the Constitution in action, and how we grow and how we develop and we change and we fine tune things. But when it comes down to it, when we're really talking about fighting for our rights, it's done in court. And to me, it's one of the most fascinating things to watch and to listen to see how people interpret it.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of people think the Constitution is a living, breathing thing, and I disagree. I think it's a I think it's a framework, but it still leaves so much to be interpreted. And I think that's one of the things that is truly kind of the beauty of court. And if you don't think Jeremy's rights have been violated, you're in for a harsh new wake-up call, because it's all about that. And whether you're a creator or not a creator, no one should be stalked and have accusations about them, period.
No. And it's not supposed to happen that way.
Right.
It's absolutely that's why I find so alarming, disturbing, annoying, but also interesting about places like Levy County, because look at how they handle this. They've made it clear that they have a bias. They made it clear by going to Ohio without being subpoenaed, apparently.
Sure.
You know,
this road trip. I guess it was Zoom. They zoomed in, so not really. But and the false allegations are just one of the things I think that's a common thread too through the cases that you've covered and that I follow and that I find interesting. There's something about that I'm not sure why it lures me in so much, but it does. It's just one of those weird things, I guess.
Well, it isn't just because you can be an active, or you can be an active observer, but spending your time, we when we cover this, yes, we can do it as work, but we trade the most finite of resources. We trade our lives, we trade time. And when I'm trading time, I want it to matter, it needs to matter to me. I don't give a fuck if somebody else thinks that at the end of the day, they looked at this body of work and they're like, well, who cares? To me, it mattered. And to Hales, I'm sure it matters, but these can have long lasting ramifications. What I've seen in this case, God, this one, it blows my mind what I see from these people. And I see it daily. They escalate. Just last night, for example, you have a panelist. And this panelist, I'm going to paraphrase this incident, but this panelist pulls out a knife and people are talking about it on that panel. They're talking about, oh, they like that knife there, and he's saying, yeah, this is my favorite. And he's talking about how he would like to use this in trial by combat on another human being. And it's just openly. I mean, that is an open threat.
That's wild.
Yeah. And that takes place on YouTube. That has been allowed to happen on YouTube. And there are idiots out there that for some reason think that that's not a problem.
Wow. Oh, well, okay. Now I'm going to move on because I don't want to get into that story too much. But how do you balance real life and YouTube life? Because you do spend a lot of time and you do see these things, and we do our research and we have to follow some of this information as it comes in. And it's like you said, some of it's disturbing. How do you balance that out?
Well, I think it's like any job. You can find yourself so addicted to it, you have to step away. Kids help, like they demand time. So, they force me to peel away from it. But every job takes inordinate amount of time really to do properly, and sometimes that really disturbs that, that work home balance. But you've got to take time away from it every now and now. I say that, but I usually stream every single day. I don't like taking days off. I don't just enjoy that. I enjoy the people around it. I enjoy the people who make our channels. The people who come and watch every day and participate every day, they make our channels. But yeah, I mean, kids, like I said, I'm lucky in that fact. They make me take time away and they make me do other things.
Right. No, and they're adorable too. I mean, how could you resist?
Yeah, they're funny. They're funny. It's been interesting. This is a new generation too, where people online, they can't see them, but they quote unquote watch them grow.
Right. Heard them grow. It's weird. That's a weird thing to say.
Yeah, it's strange.
I heard you grow up.
Like my youngest has been around, when she was born, And like I live streamed on the day she was, to tell people how, man, she had been born. And before that, we got all these crazy threats before that. It was such a weird time, a surreal time. But I mean, her entire existence has been kind of cataloged online.
Yeah. That's pretty wild when you think about it. I mean, I remember when YouTube first came out and what it was.
Mm-hmm.
And then somehow when I was out busy, living and working and doing all that other stuff, it turned into this whole other place. And that's been one of the thing that I have found most surprising. What have you found most surprising about having a YouTube channel?
Well, it's an eye-opening experience. I never thought had the level of crazy. I mean, it's what politicians, for example. Let's look at politicians. Politicians, they get threats and stuff, right? Like it's nothing compared to being a YouTuber. And it's not just you get that, but it comes with the territory. People like law enforcement, so they're consigned to that. Oh, yeah, okay. Well, you know what? Like somebody one time threatened to. I'm going to paraphrase, but they threatened to skin my kids like a potato. I mean, it was pretty crazy stuff. And this was by somebody that they come to our, they weren't just some weirdo online. They were crazy. What did law enforcement say? Well, if you don't want to deal with that, then you don't have to be online. And I'm like, really? What an answer. What an answer. So, it's an eye-opening experience, and it doesn't just happen when you get bigger. It happens at any level because you piss off weirdos. You piss off, and most people, the majority of them are just big talking weirdos, but
right.
Every now and then you'll get a really crazy one.
Yeah, there's a few out there for sure.
Yep. But I think the fact that you are in this, I'm going to say the word alone, and I don't mean that from other creators or the people who show up. I'm talking about like law enforcement and stuff. You're in this alone. They're not going to help you. That's what I've found. And Jeremy Hales, I think, shows that for different reasons. I mean, look at what's happened there. You would think somebody would step in, right? Have they? Really?
It's not like the good old days, when, just mention me on the air and the cops will do whatever you want.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Say hi to my wife, what, I don't know, whatever. But, no, I get it. My dad used to comment on that was a big thing, get out of a speeding ticket by wishing some cop's wife a happy birthday or something. Oh, goodness. So I asked a mutual friend what stuck out the most about meeting you in person. Would you like to hear the response?
Sure.
He's a giant dork through and through. Curly dork hair, dork glasses. He's a counselor and looks it. Can you guess who that was?
It could be a few people, to be honest.
Yeah, if you like, I can send it to you so you can use it on the cover of your new book, Chicken Skins for the Soul.
That's funny. That's it. I mean, I could see that. I could very much see that. I am I'm tall. I can be like, if you worked me up, I guess I could be volatile. But normally, I mean, again, yes, I wear glasses. I look like a normal person.
Yeah. No, I get it. I just thought it was funny. I also asked Megan Fox about what the most surprising thing to her was after getting to know you and working alongside you. Would you like to hear her response?
Sure.
Yeah, me too. She never responded.
She's funny.
Professional, my ass.
Yeah, exactly. Professional. What do you mean?
I see she's here, so I'm messing with her. No, she actually really didn't respond.
Yeah, well, I'm not surprised, man. I'm terrible. I can't say anything like that about that because I'm terrible about that stuff. I'll be like, yeah, sure, yeah, you got a project going on, you want an answer? Yeah, here, I'll get back to you. And I forget,
Yeah, I know. I'm going to tease her because she's going to.
Well, it's hard. I forgot. What people don't get is every day I will. Across platforms, just from YouTube, you're going to get, 1,000 notifications. just from
Sure.
YouTube, no matter
No, I
what.
get it.
Yeah,
get
and then on top of that, you're going to have dozens and dozens of emails, dozens of notifications. With Twitter, I barely, I haven't used Twitter a lot. I need to go back to it. I've got a large Twitter base, but I hate new Twitter a bit.
Yeah, you've gone full Facebook on us.
Yeah. Well, I kind of hate it's become so. Now, I'm not saying it wasn't polarized before, but it was fun to be the little guy in arguments, and now the platform is another type of polarized, and it's just. I don't know. I don't enjoy it as much right now. Like I said, maybe I'll change my mind one day, but I haven't right now. Facebook has been interesting. You deal with a different type of people as well.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I would agree with that. If your YouTube career had a blooper reel, what are the highlight moments?
Oh Lord, it'd probably be there was a stream. This was a while back. I cut loose. Everybody cut loose. It was a flash cast. I was with a Yellow Flash on it, and we were celebrating. We were, pushing comic books and stuff, and it, you're talking tens of thousands of dollars, up to six figures or more, and. We were celebrating, and we were having libations, let's say, and we had put in we were putting in like different milestones, like you super chat $100, we'll have a drink or a shot, and then
Sure.
we make so much money. After a while, I remember listening to Yellow Flash, and I just kept hearing woo, woo, woo. I was like, "What are you doing?" He was playing the mic like it was an instrument, like a kazoo or like a harmonica. It really, and that whole stream would be a blooper reel. I think.
No, I get it. I get
Mhm.
it. What is your most embarrassing moment on YouTube or in real life?
Oh my God, I don't even know. I'd have to think about that. I'm not sure.
I think that's funny that a lot of people don't know. I know exactly my most embarrassing moment. I'll never forget it.
Really?
But well, yeah. I mean, it was my most embarrassing moment. So yeah, I remember it. If you could give a new streamer one piece of advice, what would it be?
Just pre-prepared for the other side of it. Again, you go in fully expecting people to dox you, to potentially, to try to swat your home. You've got to be prepared for that stuff. And a lot of people, they aren't prepared for it. And that really, it doesn't just come as a shock to them. They quit over it, and I think if they have mentally, people think they're ready for it too. You're not ready for armed police to come to your house, no matter how well you think you are.
No.
You're not ready for people to call you an istaphobe, to take you. Most people are reasonably grounded people, and for people to scream that you're a racist or you some kind of phobe and trying to destroy your life, or that, with false accusations, for example. We covered this, right? Well, because at the time with Me Too, you're dealing with a lot of female false accusations. You're told, oh, you hate women. And I'm like, man, my audience is comprised of over half of it are female. So how does that work? But then they'll try to burn your life down with it. And that's the real thing. And on that, I also would tell people, never take it serious. Take it seriously where you like it and you care about it, but don't take it seriously like thinking you're somebody. Who gives a shit if a few 100,000 or millions of people follow you? You're nobody in that. That's why I like the faceless thing that has been there, because I've never been able to take myself seriously. My nickname is Tug. I mean, it doesn't sound very. So
Yeah. And I told the Duke that I was interviewing Tug. He's like, "Excuse me."
exactly. Hey, can you? I'll be back in 1 minute. I hear somebody
Yeah.
yelling for me. One of the kiddos. So let me just check.
No problem. Yeah, Megan, I saw your text message. Better late than never. And you didn't have to give me $5 to tell your story. side of the story. However, thank Jeremy for his payment installment. Oh my goodness. Hey chat. I'm trying really hard to ignore you guys while I listen to Tug, because it's one thing that's really challenging for me. If I start reading, I tune out what somebody's saying. So I'm trying to really focus on this conversation, but I'm going to get to you guys. I'm going to get to you guys in a minute. Yeah, the streaming circle is very male. Yeah, Tech is the only streamer next to Jeff who saw me as an equal and treated me that way. Yeah, I see that. I see that, Megan. That's true. That's very, very true. There's a lot of dudes out there. There's a lot of testosterone going on YouTube. Lots of testosterone. It is wild. It is wild. So yeah, let's see. We've got some of the usual suspects are here. Hey, Squid and Ozark Teller. Screenshot this. Hello.
All right, I'm back.
Okay. All right. If you could take over another YouTuber's channel for 24 hours, whose channel would it be and what kind of chaos would you cause?
Oh my God. I would love to take on one of these monster channels, and just, I don't know what I would do though. Oh my God. If I could take over like a Mr. Beast for freaking 24 hours, Lord, that'd be amazing. You know, what would also be amazing is what you could put on that platform in that 24 hours. Could you imagine showing the kind of things that we cover to millions of people, showing them, you really want to get social change? You'd be able to put that, the algorithms stuff have been, they have been weaponized against us,
Oh, for sure.
But I could only imagine taking 100 million people and putting what we talk about in front of them. Because, if we just talked about Levy County, for example, and what they don't do, I bet you damn well something would happen,
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So I think that would be interesting just to see. I would love the social response to it. And I think I think the popping people's bubble over, you have all this stupid content, and there's nothing wrong with stupid content, but you have it bubble to the top. And we have the tools to evoke positive social change. But unfortunately, things like TikTok, look at it. It's, 50% of people like booty dancing or whatever the hell they're
Right.
doing,
Well, yeah, there's definitely a different focus on TikTok, even from Instagram, which is kind of, it's kind of the same situation. It's very different.
And YouTube wants to be that,
It's trying really hard, isn't it?
Well, it wants to be New Hollywood. It wants to be all the things that it wants to prop up podcasts from stars or starlets. It wants to be the home of the new mainstream media, bringing over the same things we ran from. And, they want to do that with only 40% of the workforce that they had before. So, they're the biggest company. You realize Google is YouTube. They are the biggest company out there. They outgrew last year. They outperformed Disney.
Wow.
And they're that big. They're making that much money, and yet they're cutting back, and they're trying to maximize profit by cutting workforce. By if they get to step into all of that mindless entertainment, not only does it take away a lot from long form, but it cuts creator profit, which means less people will go out and be able to do more meaningful things. I mean, it's not on these platforms. It's not just garbage in, garbage out. It's also, you see a lot of investigative journalists out there. One of I thought a great highlight. So there was a random thing. I got to go on a YouTube channel and talk about an issue that was going on. I don't remember the issue now, but one of the folks that I got to talk to was a big writer and investigative journalist. Have you ever heard of Sean Atwood? You know who he is?
No, but I'm also terrible with
Okay,
names.
well, I like reading of like mob stuff, and the period with like Pablo Escobar, the Cali cartel, all that
Oh
stuff
yeah.
fascinates me. Well, he's done some of the best investigative journalism out of that.
Oh,
He went in and put together one of the best reports I've ever seen with Pablo Escobar.
interesting.
3 or 4 book series. I mean, good stuff. But he's
Wow.
on YouTube, and it was like, wow, I'm on with this dude. That's pretty awesome. You know?
Yeah. No, that is pretty cool. That is definitely pretty cool. If you woke up tomorrow and streaming, comic book writing, and mental health work were no longer an option, what would you do?
I don't know.
We're just gonna take away
Honestly,
everything you like, and what are you gonna do?
I mean, it's become like the streaming thing isn't just with work. I've been doing this for around a decade now. It is ingrained as part of my life, so I wouldn't know what to do with it. And then with comic book, I like to not just comic book write. I like to write, period. I know I do it. I don't, I'm a terrible finisher of things. I'll start at an idea, have fun with it, produce a few hundred pages on it, and then dump it and do something else. A new idea comes along. I'm terrible at that. But, being able like comic book write, making comic books was a lot of fun, more because I got to do something with my kids. It's a milestone. When my daughters grow up, they'll be able to see, hey, my dad created that with me. And I think that will be awesome. It'll be something.
No, that is amazing. It's an incredible gift. Incredible gift.
I could have made more money doing other types of comics.
Sure.
But I like them better. Some of my favorite, I got a picture from one of my comic books I did with my daughter. And, if you've never checked out our Case of the Littlest Umbrella stuff, it's a detective and his little sidekick,
Right.
We go side stuff. And well, I like the image, and she likes it too. Like we have a page, like it's an original page I've got on my wall here, where she's standing, looking up, and there's these 3 menacing people. They've got like they look like they're fixing to throw down.
Right.
She's little. She's probably like 9. She looks like in that picture, but she's going to taking on Titans.
Right.
And I like that idea. I think it's an idea that you can pass on. Throughout the years, you can stand up to anything if you want to. And that's one thing I've loved about this too. I wouldn't know what to do without it, because we've been able to equalize the playing field. In the Old West, they always, they talked about, God made man equal, and Sam Colt made, and them more equal. Well, the internet, at least in the Wild West days, it did the same thing. The mainstream media, all of that stuff, we weren't equal, but if we could throw our voices out there, we could make ourselves equal. And
yeah. Well, I mean, and that's a classic archetype for literature too, right? I mean, it's a storyline that we can write it several different ways, but it's still the same, little David versus Goliath, right?
Yep.
It's, kind of one of my favorite storylines too. I do like that. I also like the hero journey, where you have this gift and you don't like your gift, and so you go off looking for something better, but in the end your gift is the thing that saves everyone.
Right.
That's one of my other ones that I really love, because I think we all do that. We all reject our natural talents on some level.
Yeah, it's that whole the grass is always greener.
Sure.
We always think, and unfortunately in life, we're all we have at least a moment in life, or moments in life, where we chase that other thing too, and we waste time. The only thing we can't waste. But at least some of us learn and embrace that. I've gotten old enough now that I'm happy with me and what I do and how weird and quirky I am. I love it. So
Yeah. No,
it's all good.
I like how weird and quirky you are too.
Thank you. Yeah.
Megan did answer, just so as you know.
You mean last minute? She probably did in the last 5 seconds.
She said, okay, I'll respond now.
Yeah. That sounds like some megalodonous foe for me.
Yeah, and to be fair, I sent her a message and I meant to hit that delay send so that it would go later till after the show was over, but I forgot. And then, so she got it at the top of the show. So it's my fault. Okay, I'll respond now. Most surprising, that he wanted to stream with me regularly. It felt like winning the lottery. I was a super fan. I never missed a Tug stream. So that was very surprising that Tug wanted to stream with me.
Well, that's nice of her to say, first of all. But Megan's, I don't, sometimes Megan doesn't realize like how good she is at stuff. You know, she doesn't realize like how good of an investigator. I mean, you know, like I realize that this could inflate ego, but you know what? It's deserved. She's a good handler of people. She's a damn good investigative journalist. And she was in that circle, you know, like the law tube sphere. And unfortunately, I'm not going to say everyone, obviously, it's not everyone. Some people in that, they don't appreciate women. I personally believe that, you know, they'd be like, no, not going to hear it. I mean, how many ladies did you see stepping up in that, you know, and they would treat Megan's voice. She would have some damn good ideas. Now, some of them would be like, heck yeah. But some people would treat it like she was a second-hand citizen in there. And I was like, hell no, you know? So I never streamed with anybody, really. I'd streamed with Yellow Flash back in the day. We'd goof off, and then we did Flashcast, you know? It was just something we did for the longest time. I would still do it, but it's so late. You know, I can't stream till 3 or 4 in the morning sometimes.
Yeah,
but
yeah, for sure.
With Megan, I streamed with her, and I had a lot of fun. You know, it wasn't just the stuff that went on. It was the fun to it. I was like, hell yeah, you know, this is a good time. You know, we cut up well, we laugh at a lot of stupid, and you know, the hours pass really well. So that's one of the reasons I've continued to do it. Like I said, but she is a damn good investigative journalist, and she's unfortunately, she carried a lot of dead weight over time, you know, but she's finally out there like doing her thing. And I'm proud of her for doing it, but I'm proud that we get to do that together too.
Absolutely. I think it's a great pairing. It works really, really well. And she's very approachable and fun, and also very thorough. She often keeps me in check. And I don't really care but if I'm in check or not, but she does, and I appreciate that, because I don't, you know, I'll just go down a rabbit hole. So it's nice to have someone that will say, hey, no, double check that.
Yeah, well, sometimes I'm very bad about getting caught in the minutia of something. And you know, if you have somebody like she's good with picking up minutia, but she's also good at pushing the broader aspect of something. So, you know, when I'm getting bogged down in the minutia, like sometimes it's it's not like a mean or rude nudge or anything, but it's you know, hey, this is here. And I also like someone that, you know, you can get caught into your own rabbit hole. You know, you start looking down a rabbit hole and maybe it's not real. You know, you get caught in something. I mean, you deal with so many nut jobs, and you start thinking, you know, more and more conspiratorial stuff is there. Or, you know, you see something it isn't, and it's good to have somebody to bounce all that off of.
Sure. No, I would agree with that. I would agree with that. If you were a superhero, what would your superpower be?
If I could have any superpower?
Any superpower. Even if it's not considered a superpower, what power would you like?
Do you know anything about superpowers? First of all, before I note this, I would like there's a character called Longshot. He has probability manipulation, aka luck, you know?
AKA luck, yeah.
Yeah. Could you imagine having luck on your side for everything? You never get sick. Everything you want to do, you hit the lottery. You know, if you want, you play it. You know, everything just works out for you. You fight some Longshot in the comic books. He carries these tiny little throwing blades. You know, people would laugh at them. He could go in, take on an unstoppable like guy, like the Juggernaut, we saw in the movies. This guy's an unstoppable force. Where he could throw that one thing, and he's lucky it hits right in the right spot of the armor. It trips the guy. I mean, everything. You can imagine luck on your side. I think that would be the greatest superpower.
I like it.
Yeah.
So is that in the X-Men universe?
Yeah,
or is
yeah.
that-
He
okay.
he was linked up with the X-Men. You also
I
you
love the
had
X-Men.
in Deadpool. Domino. Domino also has a probability manipulation
I
power.
loved Deadpool up until this whole thing with Ryan Reynolds. I have
I
to
know
say.
that really
It broke my heart. I thought
Well,
he was
that's
the best interpretation of Deadpool I
yeah.
could ever want. And then
Well,
he goes and ruins it by being human and nasty.
that's the whole way. That's why it got me. Okay, so when we're talking about getting into all of the comic book stuff, that's
Uh-huh.
why they were killing this thing I loved. I've been around it since when I was a kid. My grandparents, one of the early memories I had, my grandparents would take me over to the CB drugstore, and
Mhm.
it had a spinner rack of comic books. I'd go over there, I'd pick up a comic book, it cost pocket change at the time, you never met these people. They were in the 90s. They had a magazine called Wizard. That was when the comic book stuff was just exploding. It was before the comic crash that happened right around the aughts. But they were almost like rock stars. And then you kind of ran into them online. And you found out they were some of the worst human beings you could ever ask for. They were awful people. They really thought they were, God's gift because they could draw, and it was sad. It was very sad to see. So, that's the same thing you're talking about with that. Seeing people train wreck stuff that you like, or anyway.
Yeah, that's why people ask me why I'm not a Dallas Cowboys fan. It's exact same answer.
Yeah,
exact same answer. Would your superhero name still be that umbrella guy, or would you change
I
it?
have no idea what it would be. It'd probably be some jackassery. I would think something funny. Yeah, it would be. It'd be some terrible thing. It'd be making fun of something. It wouldn't be. I like with that umbrella guy. I like its origins. People are like, oh, it's not. No, it's just to make fun of somebody. So, I would want something like that.
Gotcha. Would you rather karaoke, lip sync battle, or have a dance off?
Ooh, God, I don't know. I can't dance. I hate karaoke. I guess none of those sound appealing to me.
None of the above. Gotcha.
No, not really.
So public performing is not your thing.
No, I am an introverted person. If I keep very few friends. I take that word very seriously. I keep my acquaintance pool very small. In fact, this may sound crazy, but I've learned online that if you can count on your hands the amount of people that you call real friends online, if you can count them on both of your hands, somebody out of those 10 people will turn on you. So yeah. I keep it small, but I've always been introverted anyway. So doing all that stuff is just not.
Yeah, my dad always said, if you can count your friends if it takes you more than one hand to count your friends, you're lying to yourself.
Yeah. Well, I do have, I think when, it depends on how long you've been alive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you'll run into some decent people, but real friends, on internet friendship is weird too. Yeah. Like the thing we're doing right now, right. In real life, it would take you years to get to the point where you just, you open up and goof off with people like we do on live streams and stuff. But we do it the first time we meet. We artificially create this thing that knocks down barriers. And we don't realize that the people we deal with, some of those people will be great, but some of them won't.
Right. No, I get that. Mm. Do you have any regrets or no?
Regrets? Oh. I think everybody has some regrets, but I think having regrets is it's not forward thinking. and being grounded in you look back to learn lessons, like things not to repeat or ways to go, but you should always be grounded in the present and always looking toward the future.
Right. No, I agree. If all roads lead to where you are now,
Mhm.
would you change anything, even if it meant you'd be somewhere else today?
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, if I really, if you had these choices that you could really do something like that, maybe,
Yeah.
maybe. When you eliminate all this stuff, like, the self-enrichment and things like that,
Right.
there are, there are certain things there. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it'd be strange to think, well, you could do this or you could do that, but it changes everything you do now. And I'm not talking, we're obviously not talking about, I would have bought Bitcoin, 12 years ago. Yeah.
Right. Right. Well, yes. I mean, with that exception,
I
for
think all
sure.
of us would be doing stuff like that. Yeah. Hell yeah. But
Yeah, I mean, I could ask you, if you had a time machine, where would you go back to and what would you do? But yeah, that would
I'd go back and
probably,
buy me some Bitcoin. No
yeah.
joke.
I think
And then I
I'd
could
go,
do every altruistic thing I've ever wanted to do.
yeah.
People are talking
Oh.
about, well, that's self-serving. Well, shit, if it's self-serving and I'm a billionaire, then
Right, exactly. See, I'm kind of one of those people that I try not to focus on things that things that most people would regret doing or having experienced, simply because, I mean, even some of the worst things that I've been through in my life, I think that they define me in ways that, had I not experienced them, I wouldn't be who I am right now. So it's one of those weird, loops you can get into. Like, would I change? Would I do this differently? Would I've done that differently?
well, when like stuff, knowledge that I have that I could use. Okay, like my stepbrother died from leukemia. He was misdiagnosed. I would definitely correct that. Things
Yeah.
like that. Of course,
Yeah.
yeah,
Sure.
yeah. If they would have operated in 6 months before that, they may have saved his life. So yeah,
Right.
something like that for sure. So when we get into a certain thing, I think everybody might change something. It depends on what kind of things we're talking about.
Right.
Things that impact. I think that's where you get into. If we eliminate the self-serving, and like, again, I'm going to make myself rich, or I'm going to do this, and I think a lot of people would change because of loved ones, but
Sure.
the things like that you are or you do, I don't know. It's a real hard. That's a real hard question. If I had that power,
Mhm.
I'd probably sit around and think about it quite a bit before I did something. That's why I like a time machine. Do you ever watch any of one of my favorite movies is the movie Primer or Primer, depending on who's pronouncing it. It's a low budget time movie. And I always loved those kind of movies because of the shock wave, the thing that you don't think about that's going to happen, what it changes, what it does.
Yeah, like a butterfly effect, or for a little bit more commonly acceptable version would be like quantum leap, right?
Yeah.
No, I love the idea of that, because you go back and then it changes everything. Well, it's the Umbrella Academy too, right?
Mhm. Yeah, I wish they would have done that better. The books are so good.
Yeah,
I tell you,
God,
if I could force them to remake something, there'd be two things. The X-Men movie, I don't know if you've ever seen The Age of Apocalypse. God, the books on that are it's nothing like that. The Age of Apocalypse it was the first. This is, see, you can see my nerd coming out in this. The Age of Apocalypse was a future taken over by that character, Apocalypse. He's turned half of the world into a killing zone. They built a giant wall. Humanity is dwindling down, and it's an amazing story. First giant crossover ever done by Marvel. It's an amazing story, and they turned it into that. And then there is the series. Did you ever see Lock and Key? It's on Netflix.
that sounds. Oh yeah, the house.
Yeah. Now,
And they have to, you'd always have to
the
find
key
another
house.
key. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
the key.
So the book material for that is amazing. Like the stuff that they did in the show was okay, but they give away so many things. Like in the first, they ruined the story in it, and it is a crazy story. I would love to see that remake.
Yeah, there's a lot of that kind of stuff. I think I've spent a lot of time. I mean, I started reading. I'm an avid reader from a very, very young age, and I think it ruined my ability to watch movies because I can almost predict everything anyway. It's like, oh, this is gonna happen. That person's gonna. This person did it. That I can just tell. But that one was particularly. I liked the concept a lot. The concept to me was very interesting, and especially the generational part of it too. I thought that was kind of fascinating.
Well, you should, they have 3 big, I think they're like a legacy editions. They're like $30. Man, if I could recommend if people want to understand why folks like comic books, like the storytelling aspect, man, Lock and Key. Well, just read that. You could get all 3.
I'll definitely check it out.
You should, for sure.
I'll get it for my son and then tell him I had to read it first.
Yeah,
he loves comic books.
Yeah, it's got some violence. It depends,
Yeah.
like how far down. Like if if you're okay with violence and everything else in it. I was just warning you on that.
Oh yeah, no, I'm okay. If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say to you when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Oh, you did well. Come on in. I got this sweet pad for you now. No, I'd like to hear, come on in, like maybe your grandma's waiting.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, I've thought about changing that question to what do you think God will say to you when you arrive? Because I think that might be funny too. I kind of think he'd be like, well, you just barely eked in here.
Yeah. I would hope.
Yeah.
I would hope a God would be like, it's the creator that gave you free will and everything would understand like some of the stupid things I've done, I had free will. Sorry about that. But at the end of the day, I tried to do good. So hopefully that's that's there. And like I said, I hope all my, if there is a heaven, I know that there are specific people that would make it, and I definitely, like I said, I'd like to, I like the idea that we would get to meet them again.
Oh, I do too. And I just ran across that meme of Jesus, and he's like drinking a beer and smoking a cigarette, and it says, if you don't sin, then I died for nothing. I love that one. I was like, it always makes me laugh.
I like I found some stickers on Temu, and they're like Jesus, and he's like, I never said that. I like those too.
Right, exactly. Yeah. There's another one, something like Jesus's brother, which is like, oh, chair. Now everybody can sit. He was always overachieving. Anyway, just giving him credit for stuff he never did. I think it's funny. Well, thank you so much for spending a portion of your day with me. I hope it wasn't too painful.
No, it's good. I appreciate it. It's fun. I think you run a good show. I'm glad to see your channel growing. You got a good channel.
Well, thank you. Well, it's how it is. It's like you have these little jumps, and then you kind of go backwards. Oh yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah, the undertow. I think I'm in the undertow right now. Mac 2023 says, Tug, we have things in common. Raised tobacco and put up hay. Started doing that at age 8. Then at 13, helped other people to make money for me.
Yeah, I worked for this old man named Mr. Grissom. I remember him. I liked him quite a bit. He hired us. It's so strange to look back, because we had no idea what we were doing with a lot of stuff. He's like, hey, we're going to build a lean-to shed today. Like, how the hell do we do that? But we did. We built them. We built barns. We do all kinds of crazy shit. But I learned about, doing really hard manual labor, taking care of things, all kinds of stuff. Farm life was a a fascinating thing. You know, I liked it.
Oh, for sure, I could imagine.
Yeah, I learned a lot about like my grandparents and stuff in that too. You know, my granddad always loved. He kept cows. He always liked them. I think some of it was from World War II, like the impact it had on him. But he could go out, be solitary, think, but also do that. And when I was a little kid, I never understood it. But even I think at the time, maybe I didn't even understand it. But looking back, I'm like, oh yeah, I get that a little bit.
Right. We've got a question here. Tug, have you thought about letting the girls read a children's story since they seem to want to be online?
To read children, like
I guess read children's stories online, maybe.
Yeah, we've done stuff like that. Okay, so the way YouTube works, though, unfortunately, is if you have like kids, like I thought at one time when the oldest, there's actually a channel out there that's about 6 years old, and it's got she would tell like just really crazy like little stories, like a shark is, and tell you these things. And I thought they were funny. We put her face on them. We just put a little picture on there. But unfortunately, YouTube in its changes, they find a channel and they think it's child related like that. They won't just demonetize and slow, which I mean that's okay in and of itself, but they will throttle it and it'll never go anywhere. And they may over that if they change. Here's one of the things too: if they ever change the rules, they may take your channel for it. Like if they say suddenly that's not permitted anymore, well, there goes your channel too, because you have the same ISP. So
I didn't realize that. That's wild.
Yeah, sleeping at work because I was really tired.
Speak of those children, then.
Great.
I do sleep a lot when I fall asleep. I sleep all day sometimes.
Yeah. Did you fall back asleep?
Fall asleep again.
Did you fall back asleep? Is that why it's been so quiet for the hot minute?
Yeah.
Did you fall asleep? Oh, okay. I was wondering. I was like, man, somebody's being very quiet.
Because I only cry when I'm cleaning. Cause
are you cleaning then? Is that what you're doing today?
I was sleeping a lot though.
Yeah.
I like that little thing. It has the death note,
Yeah.
Death note is always the note that you don't want to mess with, please.
That's true. That's true. The death note is not something we want to mess with. She's talking about I've got a mouse pad under here. It's got a death note. Thing on it.
And the Death Note is a good movie, a good show.
It
I
is,
still like it.
You do?
Yeah,
Oh.
I don't watch it on my TV very much because I'm trying to find it sometimes, or I find it, but I want to watch something else, or I want to watch something.
Can I interview Bug, please?
Something else.
You can talk to her for a minute if you want to. I'll give her some headphones here. Hey, come here. You want to? Somebody on here. You want to listen to me? All right. She can hear you.
Hey, Bug. What's your favorite part about being on YouTube?
What's your favorite part about being on YouTube? You don't know?
Too
She's
hard of a
like, I don't
question.
know.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, she shrugged her shoulders like, I don't know.
Is it all
Yeah.
the yellow hearts? Is it all the yellow
Do you
that
like?
fills up
Yeah,
chat?
I mean, do you like the yellow hearts or?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You like
yeah.
being able to talk to the people.
yeah.
She also likes candy money.
Yes,
Candy
I
money.
definitely do.
Yeah, you definitely
I was
do.
gonna-
The candy is always the best.
And
Uh,
little
Because
box money.
it's the best.
Yeah, I knew you liked the candy money. Well, hey, give me a hug. Go do your thing. Okay.
I'm maybe gonna go back to sleep.
Oh, well, go take you a nap for a little bit. That's fine. We take you a nap.
cute.
We worked hard yesterday, getting cleaning and stuff, right?
Yeah.
All right. Go do your thing. Love you.
Love you.
It's just so funny.
Okay, Ketchup has a question for you. Thanks for the two, Ketchup. Tug, who is your top 5 for rap?
For rap? Oh, Lord. I'd have to. I mean,
Love you, Dad.
love you too, kiddo. Close the door, please. Thank you. Oh, I don't know. I'd have to. I mean, I grew up on stuff like Method Man, Ice Cube, and like I said, I'd have to sit down and really, really think about that, some playing some Gorillas in the Mist, I don't know. I don't know.
Okay.
There's so much music. I have a problem, like when I'm trying to throw this. Well, like for example, I keep my my the old God, what do they call it? The little iPods you carry around. The big ones, the classics. That's it. They have 160 gigs. So I've got 160 gigs of music on that thing, which is like 32,000 songs.
Wow.
So yeah. So and I've got more music than that, but when I get to the what's your favorite or something, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's so hard. I liked now I would not, and when I mention this, please folks, do not go look these up, okay? Because you will be horrified and offended by that type of music. But there was a type of music that really pissed people off. It was called horrorcore rap, and there was a rapper called Brother Lynchong, and he rap about some pretty messed up stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
just it reminded me of what's grosser than gross jokes,
Yeah.
almost. And I loved that because it offended the shit out of so many people. It popped up in the around the 90s, and it just it shook so much up. So I love that guy. But I love him more because he made so many people mad more than it. I remember the first time I heard that, I was like, "What the hell am I listening to?" I've never heard anything like it. And again, I'm not recommending it to just random people out there either.
No, I get that. I vaguely remember hearing about something like that, but I don't think I've gone down that rabbit hole.
Well, that's funny. Here's you want a little piece of some breaking news?
Sure.
So, the
Breaking news,
order,
everyone.
judicial notice that 2L wanted,
Mhm.
yeah, it was denied. He
Oops.
just got shot down. So, yeah, and it's interesting. The judge that decided that is Hinkle.
Mm.
Yeah, very quick decision. We'll go over that tonight. I'm sure it will be on Megan's, but that's a big one. I'm sure people will find it in a few minutes, but I saw it come up.
I've got super chats to do, and I know you've got stuff to do. I'm trying to go through here and find some questions.
Yeah, are there any
Do you have
questions in there or anything?
time? Do you have time?
Yeah. Can you give me 1 minute? I'm going to make sure the little one went upstairs and is not destroying anything, and then I'll be back.
Okay.
It'll take me like 1 minute. It won't take me long. Okay.
All right, no problem. Wishful She Devil, member for 7 months. Thank you so much. Thanks for hanging out here and supporting us. I appreciate that. And I've got Auntie M gifted 5 Rosalind Duke memberships. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Auntie M. If you received one of those gifted memberships, be sure and say thank you. She works hard over here, modding and such, and we appreciate her. Definitely appreciate her. And Gone to the Dogs gifted 10. Oh my goodness, Gone to the Dogs. Thank you so much. You guys, if you happen to receive one of those, please be sure and say thank you. I think it goes a long way. And sharing the memberships is really, really fantastic. And I really appreciate it. Thank you, Gone to the Dogs. Let's see. Megan, I'll wait for that. I'll wait for that too. Auntie M, thanks for another 5 gifted Rosalind Duke memberships. This is amazing. You guys are so awesome and so good to me. I truly, truly appreciate it. Thank you, Auntie M. And make sure you say thank you, guys, because she's really, really doling them out here. Thank you. And I've got Suzanne, new member. Well, welcome aboard. I think you're now a flocker.
All right. No fires. No, I'm just kidding. It's all good.
Thank you, Suzanne. Yeah, no, I'm glad. I'm glad to hear that. Let's see. Something to Bark About donated 10, said, love this. 2 of my favorite YouTubers. Well, thanks.
Yeah.
Something
I
to
like
Bark
something
About.
to bark about. I like their channel too. I really do. I like in the middle of all this chaos and crazy, you have a channel that is just, silly, fun.
Yeah. It's always
I appreciate that.
It's always good. Fun is welcome.
I wish the algorithm rewarded that more, too.
Yeah. It's a hard thing to figure out where you fit. With fun. Like, where's the topic? Where's the topic that says fun?
Yeah, people also, it's kind of like growing up, we had things like well, you know, the Where Are They Now? And the whole point in VH1, Where Are They Now, was to watch people get torn down for an hour. You know, it's to break things, but you never saw shows or things that just celebrated life or, you know, celebrated building. And I kind of like that when things are just silly and fun and celebrate life.
Sure. Megan sent $5. Said, most surprising, the Tug wanted to stream with me regularly. That felt like winning the lotto. She sent me a super and sent me a text. So
hey, there you go, man. You know what? Put her on the spot. Make her give that, you know. Give her the breadsticks, Megan.
I told her to thank Jeremy for my $5 installment. Thank you, Megan. Oh, goodness. And we've got, got free the leg warmers.
Free the leg warmers. Yeah, maybe one day. I know. Oh, well, I mean, she doesn't need them right now. It's too hot.
It's spring. Spring is sprung, leg warmer lady. Thanks for the 2. Oh, somebody walking in here is like, what the hell is that about?
Well, that's what I got a few. So when I've put those videos up, like laughing at it, I got a few comments like, what the hell's the Transformer actress? Like, why are you talking about stealing her leg warmers? You know? I love it. I remember the first time that I put up like streaming with Megan Fox. You know, we had all these people pop in, and
I'm
some
sure.
of them, yeah, some
10,000
of them were like,
people in chat.
yeah, they were like, "Where's the Transformer?" I was like, "I wouldn't stream with that woman if you paid me." You know,
right?
What is up?
Vice baby, thanks for the 10. Says, hey Roz, Tug, everyone, I'm at work, so I'm listening mode right now, but wanted to say hi to all.
I appreciate
you guys are awesome.
Yeah,
thanks,
appreciate
Connor.
him. Appreciate him. I appreciated Jeff, man. You know, like both of them.
Absolutely. Jeff is great, but we also inherited Connor, so
yeah,
you know, it's been one of those fun little quirky things that can only happen from Vices. Oh goodness. We've got Venom wants to know, thanks for the 2. Who is Tug's nomination for this month's GFY Award? I don't know if Tug knows about my GFY Awards. It's the GFY Awards. I don't know. I don't think he's ever made a nomination. Do you have anybody you'd like to nominate?
For what? What are they nominated for?
It's a GFY. Like, go yourself.
Oh yeah, okay.
Award.
It wasn't registering for a minute. I was like, what? Oh, okay. Yeah.
He doesn't watch.
I don't know, man. I see so much stuff in a day. I can't remember.
I know. I get it.
Yeah,
thanks for the 2.
It's not just that. Like I hear the kids running back and forth, and you know, like, wait a minute, my mind's not right. But yeah, there's a few I would probably nominate. I mean, really on what we cover, though, you probably can guess who they are. So.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I try to keep it pretty broad, even people that are outside of whatever we're covering. Because I think it's interesting to introduce people to other stories outside of the stories they probably see with me, just to keep it fresh.
Yeah, I watch. I really like some of the the crazy police stories that come up, out of all the, obviously there are good police out there, obviously, but I like the bad stories. So I just saw one, it dealt with, let me see, I'll tell you in a minute. I'll have to find the channel it popped up on because I was watching it earlier, but it was 2 cops. They had pulled over a guy and he had refused to let them search his car. So in retaliation, they decided to break into his apartment and they were hiding drugs in his house. They actually had it on body cam. They broke in this dude's house. They hid copious amounts of substances. Then they came back. They arrested him for it. Was craziness, and it was all caught on body cam. And what happened is, I think they accidentally sent it to him. They sent him the wrong body cam footage. So, yeah, he got arrested.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean it's wild. So I mean, covering stuff. The point in that is, I like to watch other craziness too. And I kind of like that kind of stuff. I avoid some of that though. We just had a DA here, I talked about on stream a few times. He ended up getting canned, and I would have covered that, but I know that they will retaliate to such a level that I'm afraid to mess with that.
Right. Yeah. No, it's pretty scary thinking about covering people in your own neighborhood, right?
Yeah. So there was a video, it came up on We the People You. That's the channel. The We the People and then the letter U. And it's 2 police officers, like for real. Like, check this out. You can see it in there. I'm gonna show you this on screen real fast if you don't care.
Okay.
Okay, it's so wild because it's on body. It's unbelievable. This looks like some kind of movie BS. It's hard to believe. Like look at these cops here. They're on that's a bag of methamphetamine, and they're fixing to break into this dude's house, and they're going to plant it on him because they're pissed off that he wouldn't let them search his car.
That's wild.
Yeah, then they're going to come back. They're going to recover substances so they can get a search warrant, and then they're going to go in. They're going to break in his home. They won't use the substances because they've taken it from wherever,
Holy
yeah.
smokes.
So they break in his home. They say that he barricaded himself in, and he was taking too long to get to the door because he was trying to flush substances. So they arrest him. They use the drugs they planted as probable cause, and they arrest him with toilet water. That's all it's the crazy. Again, when you finish this up, you should go watch that because it is.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's
send
insane.
me a link on that one. I'll definitely
it sounds
go
like some
over it.
Levy County crazy to me.
Yeah. Well, Levy County is officially in my crosshairs.
Oh yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yep.
I'm just saying. I'm watching you.
I mean, they've been covered for that. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, it's okay. I just realized I think I'm out of questions, and I know you
Okay.
probably got to run, so
Yeah,
I didn't want to keep you. There's one last one. Gemma, the what will Tug put his songs on a playlist?
Yeah, I can. I'll tell you what. Within the next few weeks, I've been been slow about that. Last year was a big hurdle because of health, but man, I'm doing great right now. So
Now you sound great.
yeah, thank you.
Great.
I've been busting it up. Once I eliminated that stuff, I found I'm not sure what happened that caused me my initial problems, but I know that so-called specialists did not make it better.
Right.
They made it much worse. So I found I don't know what's working there, but something works well. I've added supplements and other items, and I've been working it out. But yeah.
I think the supplements are underrated when you're,
Mhm.
getting a little bit. I mean, I think there's a lot of stuff that's garbage out there, honestly. But I
Well,
do think
and the
that they're
consumption
overrated.
of water. I mean, people don't realize how much, especially U.S. citizens, we are chronically dehydrated. And
Exactly.
that's one of the things that, it screws us up so badly. So putting in like some vitamins and other supplements, picking them out, obviously I'm not, going off the deep end and being like, that cures all your ills, but I can tell you.
it helps.
Well, the
Definitely
specialist that gave me medication, I believe it caused my worst problems. It almost, if I would have stayed with it, I think in 3 years, it'd have put me in the ground. So that sounds
my God.
crazy, but man,
So
I can see the
scary.
difference,
Yeah, no, I dealt with some pain some pain issues a while back with the autoimmune disorder that I, if it wasn't for supplements, I would probably have become addicted to pain meds. I mean, I just couldn't function.
I had that road. So I had a substance abuse problem, for a minute, like a hot minute. And that was because I developed this pain in my side that was just unbearable. I'm very good with pain. I can tolerate a lot. So for me to say it was bad, it was bad. And I went through testing. It did nothing. And for years, like it was there. Well, before they started putting in all these new rules on pills, they would just crank them out. So I got a lot of like Percocet, and God, it developed into a real problem. And it helped with the issue, but it created its own issue. I guess when you're, when you've got that issue, I think I think, well, what was the statement? The good thing about drug addiction is that you only have one problem, drugs. I mean, that's, as a joke.
Yeah, it's
funny,
like,
but I
well,
forgot about pain and everything else. But
yeah.
I ended up years later, I had my appendix rupture, and inside of it, it looked like there was something like I don't know, maybe like a tumor or something, and it had been causing pain for years.
Oh
And
my gosh.
they never caught it. So I've been, living with this thing growing inside of that. And oh God, it hurt. But yeah, I had some pretty bad substance abuse issues from all of that. That's why I'm with these people. I don't judge these weirdos because of substances. I judge them because they're terrible human beings.
Mm-hmm.
I think,
well, I mean, it's really easy. The doctors push them, right? I mean, so I'm not saying you initially went out to get hooked on pain meds. I mean, no, I can't imagine anybody sets out to do that. It's just something that unfortunately does happen. But it didn't matter what doctor I went to, that was their answer, right? It's like, oh, here's some pain meds. And it's like, I can't do I can't function. I mean, I had a small child. I was like, I can't do anything. So I had to find alternative methods. And so I'm a firm believer in, fix what you can with your diet, take the supplements for the things that you're not absorbing well or you're not getting from your diet, and then reassess what it is that you need to be on. But,
and educate yourself. It's the most powerful thing. I saved myself a lot of money on going into like, neurospecialists, all these people now that they send you to, they give you a handful of exercises, like, hey, stare at put your finger out in front of your eyes, 8 to 10 inches, stare at it, and then stare at something in the background that will help reacclimate this or that. Oh, here's I'm going to charge you $8,000 for that.
Right.
And I mean, that literally is, I pulled 8 exercises after I quit all of that. After being on it for like a year plus, it really, I had that tendonitis, the ringing, and on top of it, God, I couldn't drive right. It was just a mess. But the exercises, they would charge me thousands of dollars. So, hey, they're online, so you can, you learn. Yeah.
It's true. We did get one more question in. Rosilla's Realms, thank for the 2, said, Tug's favorite parody musical humor artists.
Oh Lord! I mean,
that sounds like a loaded question.
There are a lot of people that now that I see out there that are doing funny things. I see a lot of them. They're my favorites currently. There's a lot of them just that are around. Again, this thing. I spent so much time, like we were talking about earlier. The work and home balance. Well, a lot of my time, if I'm dealing with anything, I'm not watching any other parody. I'm watching something related to our cases here. So those are probably my favorite people, the people that are covering this right now.
Yeah. Would you call it?
Fascinating. It's a fascinating. That is very fascinating.
Very fascinating. Yeah, no, I think that there's a lot of, especially with the What the Hell's case and even Laura Owens' case, there was a lot of people have popped up and flexed some creativity that I didn't know was out there. And it's wonderful to watch people, how they start and how they grow and how they cultivate their medium. And I love it. I mean, we've got a lot of really talented people in the communities. And so that's always fun too. I think that's what he was at. I think we were getting at can you tell Raz that Raz is your favorite?
I'm terrible with like names of different creators. That's my problem. Like I'll forget somebody in shout outs. One of the things I sometimes I feel like I'm being elusive in this, but I don't like leaving people out. First of all, some people, it doesn't make them very happy, but also it doesn't make me happy to leave them out either,
Oh, sure. Yeah, there's so many. I mean, and there's some people that have been putting out stuff that I didn't even realize they were putting anything out. Like, you can't you can't consume it all. I mean, there's so much content out there.
Yeah, I had some people write, I have people on like on Fridays here, off and on, and I'll have people write and be like, hey, why don't you have me on? And I don't mean to be rude, but I'm like, I didn't know you created content. I'm sorry. I didn't realize there's so many good content creators out there. I keep running across them all the time. Again,
Yeah.
the tizzies or the
Sure.
the freaking D spills the T's. There's so many. And again, I don't want to shout. I know I shouted a couple there, but there are a lot more.
Oh yeah, there's so many. Well, I think that's it for the questions. If you need to skedaddle, I'm just
Yeah,
going to
I'm
hit
gonna
some of these
bounce.
super chats.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank
I
you. Hey,
appreciate it. It was
I
fun.
appreciate you.
All right, guys, thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed that. Audrey Little, member for 3 months. Thank you so much for sticking around. You're definitely one of the flockers. I can tell. And Auntie M, thanks for the 5. Say hello to Tammy, everyone. Hi, Tammy. Hi, Tammy. Everybody say hi. Thanks for the 5, Auntie M. And we've got Sister Sal, $2. Hello, Tammy. Thanks, Sister Sal. I appreciate it. And we've got Sister Sal, another 2. Tug and Roslyn. Hello. Sorry, I missed this one. It was buried back there in the starred chats. So I missed it. Thanks, Sister Sal. And Darren says $50. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, that's a big one. Thank you so much for the vet bill. Oh, P.S. Miss Roslyn is awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah. Nothing worse than paying a vet bill when you didn't get to bring your puppy home. I will say it's rough. It's rough. I know they did everything they could to help her, but I appreciate the help with that. It was not a little one. Definitely not a little one. Thanks again. Craig Bacalo, thanks for the 10 Rosalind Duke gifted memberships. It's amazing. I hope everybody said thank you when you sent that. It's been over an hour ago, but I appreciate it. 10. And look at Sister Sal with another 5. Oh my goodness, you guys are just amazing today. And Fallen Hero gifted 1. Thank you guys so much. These gifted memberships go a really long way. Helps people get to witness some of the stuff on the channel that they might not otherwise. I mean, I haven't really put out a whole bunch of members only content recently, but I do maybe launch things to members first a lot of times. So that's the benefit. And I'll get back to doing some members only shortly. Thank you guys so much. Jen Thunder, thanks for the super sticker. I appreciate you. It's amazing. Thank you. And Linda Gorgip, new member, thank you. Welcome aboard. You are now a flocker. I hope you stay away from Venom because she's been wandering around with the shears lately. And Spirit Walker, new member, thank you so much. Welcome aboard. Another flocker. And E. Poindexter, new member, thank you so much. You guys have been amazing today. I appreciate so many of you stepping out here today to hang out with Tug and I while I ask them a whole bunch of questions that nobody really maybe could see coming, hopefully. I don't know. I think it's important to talk to some of these creators about their journeys so that new creators can learn from it. Venom is threatening people with scissors in chat. Be careful. Oh, goodness. I think it's really good to understand that it's not necessarily such an easy journey to hang out on YouTube and develop your channel and grow your audience. And, they throw you a lot of curveballs along the way, as we've seen with some people recently. And hopefully some things can get resolved and we can move forward on that one. But it's not always easy. One more question coming, says Raz. I don't, well, it's already gone. I'm sorry, Raz. Robin says, bye, gang. I can't do it. My throat is off a little bit today. I apologize. Attitude, thanks for the 5 for the fleas etiquette class. Well, I did tell you that it was for preteens, right? There's an old saying that says, if you haven't figured it out by 40, you're not going to. So I think they may have outgrown the class. But thank you, Attitude. I appreciate it. Oh, my goodness. Yeah. I don't threaten. I promise. Big difference. LOL. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Okay, I'm going to see where I can send you guys off to enjoy the rest of your afternoon before Mug is back on the air. Let's see. What have we got going? Who is live? Who is live? Goodness gracious. I guess I could play some background music for you, but that would require me to think ahead. And it's not happening. So there's that. Let's see. Who is live? We have... Megan's not even up here. What is she thinking? That leaves us with Mo in the Deep End or Ricada. Mo in the Deep End or Ricada. Oh no, Kitty Pants says, oh no, over 40 and I haven't figured most of it out yet. Well, I'm talking about like common courtesies. You're not supposed to figure it all out. That's happens after you're already gone, I think. That's how long it takes us to learn everything. But, you know, common etiquette, morality, you know, how to get out of your own way, things like that. That's what I meant. So anyone, Ricada or Mo, Elfie says, Mo, you got it, folks. Make sure you go over and drop some sheep into Mo's chat and say hi. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for being here. And as always, see you in the tubes.
It's tell me everything. Stars inside gonna sing and swing. With Rosalind too, there's joy in the air. Life's a show and we